Norse mythology, like, I'm sold, dude. I'm legitimately sold. Okay, I'm done. Back to the video.
Of a time long past. It's a memento of a time when I was still really, really invested in World of Warcraft, and when it was home to me still.
That's cute.
And I want to talk about where I've come from since then.
That too.
And how I ended up where I am now as a full-time Final Fantasy XIV content creator. I feel like my
Add it to the list, Oliver.
A full-time Final Fantasy content creator?
Hey man, that's what I'm trying to do.
Oh my god, dude.
Can you guys hear this okay, by the way?
Do those weird cats just appear in everybody's video as soon as they start playing Final Fantasy in the background? It's like as soon as you start playing the game, these cats start popping up everywhere. I'm pretty sure that's how it works.
Thank you, Junk. I appreciate it.
My experience as like a WoW refugee.
I love how he says that.
Might be enlightening for people, and it might be relatable to people that are considering coming to 14.
I can't wait until I have random fat cats popping up behind me. Like, I have a bunch of stuff, I think I mentioned this before, I have a bunch of stuff that Gwydion Wolf got me from PAX East for 14, and I haven't put it up because I'm going to be moving, so I don't want to put it up and then take it all down. But I cannot wait to have all of this merch behind me, for sure. I love them too. Yeah, I used to have 4 real cats that ran around, so. Alright, back to the video.
Now that might also, like me, have this long, long history with World of Warcraft.
Man, should we even watch this? Like, she's gonna try to convert people away from the game? Like, is she gonna try and convert people away from our fucking game, dude?
This sentimental
Who isn't trying to convert people
I'll
away
never
from
forget, in December of 2004, when my dad drove me to a Walmart that was an hour away, because it was the only one that we could find that had World of Warcraft in stock in my area. And I remember reading the like player handbook on the way home, and I was thinking about what race I was going to play, and I felt like I was going to jump into this incredible adventure. And
hold on. Talking about the handbooks. 1 second. I'll show you guys some stuff. Hold on. All right, ready? So she was talking about the the handbooks, right? Here's Wrath. And BC. And Vanilla. Oh wait, there's more. Kata. But wait, there's more. The First Chronicle. The Second Chronicle.
So it's the bottom number, like the top is the max, the bottom is just on mute left.
The Third Chronicle. The art book.
Level 1 spells, level 2 spells, level 3 spells.
Hey, Drew.
You can use that many per day, but you can usually put more.
And the Atlas.
That would be like if you go to the app, like spells, as many as it allows.
So yeah, I know.
But it's like you can prepare.
Okay. I know, 10 seconds into the video. I'm laughing, and I'm kind of embarrassed. I don't know, I'm a little embarrassed.
So you can do spells.
And I don't have fanfic, but I have multiple WoW novels too. But I would have to actually like go through different parts of my bookshelf to find them. Okay, back to the video.
And I was. World of Warcraft is an adventure that
That's
would
nice.
consume my life for the next
Good.
over
That's
the
what
next
it's supposed to do.
decade and
Yeah.
even longer.
That's what you wanted
Raiding
to do.
Nefarian with my guild was probably
That's awesome,
maybe my
Drew.
favorite ever memory from video games, like any
Nefarian's a
video
good fight.
game I ever
Yeah,
played.
I like Nefarian.
I was there with my
Nefarian
is a good
guild.
fight.
Everyone was dead. I was the last one standing. Nefarian was at like 1% health, and everyone was cheering me on in team.
We had this happen in Gruul.
And I was a rogue, and I
In
popped
Gruul?
evasion.
I love how he calls it
And I
Gruul.
managed to dodge every
It's Gruul.
attack and like
I like how she's doing the dodge sounds, dude.
step
Okay.
very fast until
Alright,
he died.
dude.
And when he hit the floor,
Yeah.
TeamSpeak went
Okay, dude.
like people were
Okay,
freaking
dude.
out.
Okay,
And I
dude. No,
felt
this
like
shit happen in
a
Classic all the time.
goddess, I guess. I felt amazing.
It is amazing.
And then my chess piece dropped. The Bloodfang
That is
chess
amazing.
piece dropped, and everyone gave it to me, and they were like, because I won the roll,
'Cause, yeah.
and they were like,
That's
you
cool.
deserve this. And I was like, yeah, I deserve this. This is the best day ever. Like,
That's awesome. Yeah.
that's
That is
what
awesome.
can I say?
That's awesome.
I was in love with that game. I was
Hell
in
yeah.
love with the people
See,
I played with those
Yeah.
That's kind of like I think one of my favorite moments when I played WoW was when I started raid leading back in Mists. I started raid leading for heroic Siege of Org, so it was at the end of Mists, but it wasn't like it was before the nerf, and it was when heroic was technically mythic content before they'd put the mythic option in. So heroic was the most difficult content that you could do. And I was raid leading, and my GPU was like a 750 Ti, so I could barely see what was going on. I had everything on low, and we were doing Immersius. So we were doing Heroic Immersius. And the strat was because the swirls for the puddles would form underneath you for Immersius, and they would do damage to you. So everybody would stand in a line from the front platform near the puddle for Immersius toward the back of the room as far as you could. So, like, you would have melee, heals, and casters. And then as soon as the puddles were about to drop, you would take one step left, one step left, one step left. And I could barely see it, but I was trying to call it out, and it was just absolutely incredible when we actually downed it for the first time, especially since it was my first heroic boss, and it was the first thing I'd ever raid led, and it was probably the most incredible thing I've ever felt. So I completely get where she's coming from. It's not the same circumstance, but it was still amazing. It was absolutely amazing. And yes, we'll get a tour. How about we'll get a tour of the Xandrii when we hit 7K followers. How does that sound? And Titan was amazing too. Yeah, but I'm just talking about WoW specifically. Just because that's what she was mentioning. So, yes, I have started playing Guild Wars 2. I can give you guys my tag. I have actually started playing it. I just haven't put the videos up on YouTube yet. So, all right, let's go.
Every single time we have a long rest, you can go into that spell.
experiences of like we worked
Yeah.
so hard to get to that point,
Fuck yeah, dude.
and we were rewarded for it. But imagine if that Bloodfang chess piece that dropped, like, if maybe that story happened today in the current state of WoW, and that chess piece maybe didn't Titan Forge or didn't get the socket or whatever, and then
Yeah.
I would be like, oh well.
Doesn't have the red
Okay,
rune
well, I
of
guess we'll just have to come
corruption.
back later, and I'll try to get the Titan Forge version. Okay.
Yeah. That actually works pretty fucking well. That's, yeah. I don't, okay,
True.
yeah. Why am I not surprised?
Definitely
She's
true.
right, yeah. It's like, and then she forgot the fact that it just personally gets looted to her or to somebody else. So, like, she's the one that finishes off Nefarian, and then the rogue that dies first because he got tail swiped 5 times ends up getting the Titanforge Bloodfang chess piece personal looted to him instead. You know, that's how it works, man.
And see, I'm actually not a fan of personal loot, especially coming from a raid leading standpoint where I was trying to put a group together for Mythic, especially for like HFC and stuff like that, I actually used RC Loot Council. And then we'd have things, items would go to people that like needed the item most, but you also had to perform. You had to like do the damage that you were required to do. You had to perform mechanics well, and you also had to keep like close to 100% attendance. So there were a lot of things that went into play for you to actually get a piece. And it's funny because like personal loot obviously has its pros and cons. But I actually really liked the couple of pieces dropping and then having to distribute it accordingly if you were in a group like that, or rolling on it and having it be luck. And it was actually funny because we were doing some mythics yesterday, because I'm getting the guild back together on the Horde side on Bleeding Hollow. And we were running with 3 plate, 1 leather, and 1 clothy, and like nothing dropped for leather and cloth, and it just kept like we would keep getting these drops that would go to the plate wearers, and they would just keep trading it to people, and I was like, oh, like I didn't get anything from my mage. It was so irritating. So personal loot is a random drop from a boss that you get yourself. So like you don't have to roll on anything. You literally just loot the boss, and it's an item that's for you. While planning your cutting edge push for us. Oh jeez. I don't mind how 14 does it. But I didn't like the change from WoW, from the, the Neater Greed, Master. I actually really liked Master Loot to Personal Loot.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes, I know what you mean.
Yeah, exactly.
Shift in design philosophy over the years, and it's one that has been... It's been painful to experience firsthand, and it's been heartbreaking to watch even from afar from my now new home of Final Fantasy XIV.
Yeah.
As the years went on, I noticed that I was adding less and less people to my friends list.
See, that
and
never happened to me.
That I was spending more time with people I had been randomly matched with that wouldn't say a word, and then we all go back to what we were doing before.
Yeah, that's
we'll
about
never
right.
speak to each other again. By the time I got to World of Dragon,
Aw, thank you so much for the sub, Moon Metal. Thank you.
I was sitting in my garrison, and I realized that was the loneliest I ever
responding
felt.
to people about doing this fight for easy success.
But at the same time, I felt like trapped.
Yeah, garrison
I felt like there was
sucked.
nowhere to go. And there was no MMO besides this one that would ever have so much meaning for me, because it was meaning that had been built up over so many years and through so many formative experiences. And I have friends, even today, there's friends in my Twitch chat who met.
I just want to pause for a second. I see there's a lot of like rude comments and like bad comments towards this person.
See, this I liked.
I don't know why you guys think this is like socially acceptable to act this way, or like I've ever given you the implication that this is an okay way to act
really appreciate this.
To be towards somebody. I hope I never gave you that idea, because it's certainly not true. Don't act that way, or you're just going to get timed out or banned.
Me during vanilla, WoW, or BC, and we have lifelong friendships from this game. We have bonds that will never be broken.
See, this other thing too, so speaking of this bonds that will never be broken from WoW, so I went to high school with a couple of guys, and one of them got married. God, it's like freaking 5 years ago now or something. But we were in this guild, Lucidity, and it was on Black Dragonflight, and we didn't really raid or do much, but we'd been in the guild since we were in middle school. And we'd met these 2 guys. One of them was from Ohio, and I think the other one was from Utah or something. And I believe the one was a paladin, and the other always played a druid. And they were just always around. We always did stuff together. They never left the guild, no matter how like inactive it got, like for taking breaks or whatever. And then this couple that I actually went to school with, they ended up getting married about 5 years ago. And these guys flew in. The paladin, I cannot remember his name now because I have not done anything with them in a really long time. But the paladin ended up being the best man at the wedding. And we actually met these guys. I think one of them, the druid's name was Damien, I think. I can't remember what the paladin's name was, but I ended up meeting these guys. when we went to the wedding, and it was just so cool. Like, the one dude's the best man, they flew out, like, we hung out, we danced, like, we talked, like, we actually, like, spit WoW jokes that were really, really fun, because, like, I mean, who else IRL can just sit there and spin WoW jokes and just talk about WoW all the time? It was absolutely amazing. He was a druid. But, I mean, it's bonds like that. And then this couple, so they actually wanted to move out to Utah. And so they moved out there, and they ended up staying with this guy, and now they, like, own a house together. So this dude and his fiance, and then my two friends who moved out there, and they're, like, best friends for life because of World of Warcraft. So I totally get what they're talking about. And took out some laptops and raided. We went gambling afterwards, but I'm sorry, Lens. I'm sorry. All right, back to the video. I know where she's coming from, is what I'm saying. It's amazing. Check disc. All right, hang on one second. Wow. Nice. Nice. All right, let's go back to this.
This game, of course, I'm connected to this game, and I always will be, no matter what. So I felt, well, what's the point of even trying another MMO? It's WoW or nothing, you know?
Yeah, that's about right.
But my garrison was pretty much running itself, and a friend of mine begged me to try Final Fantasy XIV. It was during Heaven's Ward era.
Oh, wow.
And honestly, I was feeling pretty depressed.
That's the best time
I felt
to start.
like I had nothing to lose, and my life wasn't going really well at the time either. And so I figured, well, there's a free trial, so whatever.
You know, I think that's actually whenever I started playing BDO. It's kind of crazy that, like, she says this, because this is whenever I started playing BDO. Yeah, I don't know, man.
I've not
like,
tried BDO. How is it, you guys?
It feels like that's kind of sad, honestly.
I'll just try it out. And I had never played a Final Fantasy game before. I didn't understand, like, why there were cat girls to play. I didn't understand why there was, like, potatoes to play. I was kind of weirded out by the character creation, like, full disclosure. Honestly, my first reaction was like, who is this game for?
That's good.
This is like
weirded
a
out by
game.
cats.
That was my reaction.
Oh, you too.
But I tried it.
It's for
and
weebs.
honestly, in spite of myself, in spite of all my reservations, and in spite of myself expecting it.
I'm actually surprised that she enjoyed the game so much without having had any background with Final Fantasy. Because a lot of people, it's like the nostalgia factor, and it's that there are so many connections made there, and there's so much homage to all of the different Final Fantasy games. So I'm really surprised. Not that it's a bad thing. Not at all. I mean, it's great. It's great that somebody who is coming from a background of not having played any of those RPGs and absolutely loves 14. And what's funny about that is that Asmon, in the video about the 15-year WoW nerd first impression of 14, Asmon says that he's not sure if he would like 14 because he's never played, he's never really tried to play another Final Fantasy game. Like, he kind of tried 7, but he couldn't get into it. But this just goes to show you that you don't necessarily have to be into that to enjoy the game. So there's that, you know? Hey, thank you so much for the follow.
It to be crap.
Yes.
I found myself after 3 days of playing the story and just feeling myself slowly, like, I guess, let my guard up and allow this new game to be enjoyable for me.
That's how I was too.
Honestly, I was hooked after 3 days. The story pulled me in, and I started to feel connected again, not just to the characters in the story, which I kind of think of like those first connections to the story characters as being almost like a like a rope that I grabbed onto after being in this pit
of
like despair, like MMO despair.
Oh my god.
It was like I had this lifeline suddenly, and I started to feel like, oh my gosh, this is really fun, and I care about what's happening to these characters. I want to know what's going to happen next.
Exactly.
And then the community.
I've never given a fuck about that. Like, it's like, I get mad whenever Bolvar gets...
Before he goes on about, like, not caring about the MSQ and whatnot, doesn't really care about the story and everything, or necessarily really the community being great. Yeah, the eyebrow game is crazy. I'll help you level wherever you want. Like, regardless of how dramatic it sounds, if that's the way you want to put it. Thank you so much for the follows, guys. my big thing was, so the reason, people keep asking if I want to, or if I'll do a video about switching from WoW to 14. People keep asking if I'll do it, and I think people have the wrong impression. Because most people are, I think most people expect the streamer or the content creator to attack Blizzard or World of Warcraft and then say how great 14 is. And regardless of how great 14 is, and regardless of if people think Blizzard is in shambles or if WoW is in shambles, that's not why I moved from WoW to 14. The reason that I moved from WoW to 14 is because when I was playing WoW, when I was doing my old year stuff for Heroic, I had a lot of people who either would miss raid after saying that they were going to be there when I was trying to... Well, okay, rewind a little bit more. So I was raid leading and GMing. And I had a lot of people who wanted to raid with me, and I had a lot of people who wanted to be officers that helped out in certain aspects, but not all aspects. And so, to no fault of theirs, I felt really stressed about it. And I didn't want to tell anyone about it because the way that I am is I kind of like bottle things up and then I just let it get to me and I get upset. And so it was that on top of things weren't going well for me IRL. Like I've told you guys before, I was in like a really, really, really toxic relationship and work wasn't going well for me and I couldn't bring myself to get on and play the game. Like it wasn't even WoW. Like I was actually enjoying the expansion regardless of how crappy it is compared to other expansions. I was enjoying it, but I started to not enjoy it because of all of the IRL things, and so I stopped playing. In fact, it was so, I feel horrible saying this, but it was so bad that not only did I stop playing, but I pretty much ghosted everyone because I was so upset with my current situation. I regret it a lot and I'll never do it again. But that's what happened. And then I had quite a few people, because I was still in my Discord. I never left. I didn't leave that, and I still checked it, even if I didn't really talk. And a bunch of people kept DMing me, asking me if I was okay, which was absolutely amazing, because like the fact that people actually care about stuff like that is amazing. Like, it's... the fact that people actually care and wanted to check in on me, like, really changed things for me. I was like, okay, you know, like, I can do this. I can do this. And so I had a bunch of people say that they wanted me to try out 14, that the community was amazing, that it would just be, like, a deep breath from everything else in my life at the moment. And I was like, okay, I'll try it then. So then I played it, and I was absolutely hooked, and I've met, like, lifelong friends, essentially, from playing WoW. Like, one of them is Deuce, who you guys seen. A bunch of people that I'm going to be raiding with. Drew, Nistic, guys like that. But I've met a lot more playing 14. And so I get the sense of community that Zepla is trying to talk about here. I know that people have commented on it saying that it's dramatic, saying that she's, like, overemphasizing and whatever. But honestly, I get it. Because I was going through such crappy stuff at the time as well. And I definitely wouldn't be where I am now and enjoying this and doing this as a full-time thing and, you know, being happy and taking leaps if it weren't for those people that reached out to me when I stopped playing WoW. So, I don't know. I mean, obviously think what you want. If you think it's over the top, whatever. I don't, because I've been there. I've absolutely been there, so...
Bitch made by Sylvanas, but I don't really like. It's like, yeah, it's stupid. You know, I don't really like. I never like have cared about like a fantasy character. You know what I mean? I just don't give a fuck. I don't know. Like maybe this is like amazing. A weird thing for me, but it's got a good story. Yeah, it's just not a thing to me, man. Like, it's just a fucking game. You know, like, I don't know. What about Garrosh? Garrosh is badass, but I don't really care whenever they killed him. It's just like,
Embrace
it is what
me.
it is.
And the community started pulling me up out of this hole that I was in.
Yeah,
and I started my YouTube channel, and I started making content.
How about that?
For the game, and before I knew it, I felt like I had a family around me, and I felt like I belonged.
That's legitimately the same way that I've felt.
Wrath of the Lich King.
That's why I'm saying
I
it's
felt
not
like I was
crazy.
At home.
That's how I felt.
And I couldn't believe what was happening.
Dude, like, I've got fucking... I remember I have such a fucking vivid memory of this. I remember it was like fucking Saturday morning, and I got up, and I had been in the vent channel all night long, and I woke up. And before I even put on my headphones, I could hear my guildies talking to each other and laughing and having fun.
Yes, this is what I'm talking about. There was that too.
Got on the computer,
I know. Yeah, Vent. I used Vent even when Discord was a thing for a really long time.
That made me feel so.
I'll help you level wherever you want.
It really did.
Oh, thank you so much, TSG.
I mean, I got caught up in 14 so fast. Everything moved so quickly. I got my character to level 60. I started doing Alexander raids, and I started raiding again. I had that incredible thrill of killing the savage bosses with my new static, my new friends from my static, and it was that same old thrill that I felt back in the day. With,
yeah, I don't know if that's hard or not.
You know,
it is hard.
I was having so much fun. My heart found a new place to be, a new place to stay, and I watched from afar, from this position of safety, from which I still watched, as World of Warcraft took its path and continues to take this path down a road that I can't follow. It's like that thing that Jaina said to Arthas, like, you're going down a path I can't follow.
But to be fair, Jaina was wrong, and she messed everything up whenever she said that.
She was wrong.
Like, I want to just keep that in mind, like, for some context. Like, Jaina was wrong for saying that.
So yeah,
she caused another fucking expansion because of that. Fucking Arthas would have never had to be the Lich King if she had helped him and Uther had helped him. But no. Oh, I don't want to do this. Oh no, I can't be with you, Arthas. It's like, yeah, no, Arthas was right. Arthas was the only one that had the
the
strength to make a decision that only a king could
make,
do that, and the other people couldn't even see it.
Right.
They demonized him.
Meanwhile, you have Ian saying stuff like, this was from a Q&A.
Can we just stop this right here? Oh, shit. I was at 12:28, I think. Hold on. 12:28. 12:29. So, okay. I'm just going to stop that right there. Ian, no one irks me more. Like, as much as I love WoW, as much as I really, like, don't care about certain things, like, and again, the current state of WoW, if you want to call it, is not the reason why I left WoW and started playing 14. I cannot stand Ian. I can't. I know, I'm sorry. I don't mean to, I just, and I don't like talking bad about anyone, but oh my gosh. Have you ever listened to the guy do an interview? I mean, honestly. I just, I don't know.
If people are engaging in activity beyond the level that's required,
you probably do know me better than I do.
That's an indication they're doing it because it is fun. We can infer that from this data that they are having fun. We can infer the fun if they repeat activity beyond baseline reward acquisition. It is fun. Like, what?
It's not even that. I'm just tired. I'm tired.
He was talking about...
I'm tired of him telling us what we want. People are like, oh, we don't like garrisons. Well, you'll like shipyards. Are they the same thing as garrisons? Well, yes, but you actually do like them. You just don't know you like them. Oh, okay. That's how I feel? Tell me more. Like... okay.
How they decide if something's fun or not, like how a robot would if they were studying humans and trying to understand what is fun. like? What is this thing? Like,
Ian doesn't know what fun
so
is. Yeah.
Weird. And then
I've said this before, right? It's like Ian's a lot of his like concerns and like, you know, things like that in the game. They're like robotic and they're not. I feel like they're always like very disconnected from what the player base wants. It's like they look at things of what should be fun.
All right, rant for a second. So it's like the same thing where he's just like, let's prune classes of their abilities and say that it's because you're not having fun because they don't match like the class fantasy. What? Yeah, let's take away Frostfire Bolt because it doesn't match the class fantasy. That freaking makes sense. I mean, oh god.
Doesn't look good, guys.
Okay, I'm done.
Rather than what is fun. It's always been like really weird. I think this is a pretty good analogy, and I think a lot of people feel the same way she does. Is they see kind of the way that Blizzard is designing the game and like building the systems in the game around analytics
because it's
rather than player
Frostfire,
enjoyment.
though. It's
and I think that's
I'm
why
not
you
going
see
into
systems like the Garrison just, you know, happen throughout the entire expansion. Because like people said like, okay, well, a lot of people are doing the Garrison, a lot of people are doing Mythic Plus, so it must be fun, without actually looking at what like the actual reason for it happening is. So yeah, I'm really glad that this is another person thinking the same thing.
Laura's sitting next to him. Laura's the community manager who famously on Twitter called the community dick bags. There's a tweet that he's a community manager. His job is to interact with the community. And he was like, look, I'm quick to mute or block people. I don't want to slog through garbage on Twitter. Okay, from anonymous dick bags. What are you doing?
I like, here's the thing with Laura saying this, is that like he's right. Like obviously like you're not supposed to like he's obviously not
right.
there's
no, but here's the thing. Yes. In the most condensed basic sense of things, yeah, mental health is better than idiotic ranting for anyone. However, when you work for World of Warcraft, when you work for Blizzard, and you are an announcer for Blizzard, you don't post stuff like that on your social media. Or, if you do, you make sure that in your little About Me blurb on social media that it says, my thoughts are my own and have nothing to do with @Blizzard Entertainment. But he didn't. And then he called people dickbags. I mean, you just have to have common sense. Exactly, it is unprofessional. However, if he did have just that little line in his About Me, it would have been completely different. It would have been completely different. And yes, the statement is absolutely correct. The statement is absolutely correct. And it's kind of funny, the fact that he thought he could get away with calling people that. But yeah, it is a great pause face. But like, you're employed by Blizzard. You can't. Yeah, right. He could have worded it better. And yeah, everyone is, for sure. But that's not the point. The point is, so it's like, I work for a dealership at the moment, you know, but before I go full time. So starting next week. So that's like me being on like Facebook or something and saying that I work for this dealership. And then sitting there and posting about our clientele that go to the dealership. And like tagging people even. You don't do that. He could have said you're all phallic-shaped objects. Yeah, anonymous accounts would have worked. I'm just saying it's not professional. I do think it's funny. And he's right. But at the same time, you're a voice for Blizzard. Aw, thank you so much for the sub, Space Game. It's like right now I'm a voice for my dealership. So that, I mean, again, just for another example, that's like me like going on to like my dealership's or like my dealership's page and ranting about a customer that we had.
Because she's kind of missing the.
I mean,
thing, and I really want to get back to it.
seriously. let's go back to this. I'm
There's
sorry.
a certain amount
but
of
thank you so much for the sub. I
disingenuousness
appreciate it.
that goes into this. Like, obviously, he shouldn't have said it publicly. Probably shouldn't have said it. Yeah. But let's just be honest for a second here, okay? Like, this guy gets dipshits coming at him all the time. Like, people making threats at him all the time. And dealing with that shit all...
Here's the other thing, too. Yes. It's good to have... I'm sorry, I don't mean to pause it again right there. But what he just said right there... I know, I'm sorry. Is this person, or any person, so any content creator at all... has to be aware that they cannot please everyone. You will get those people that are rude. You'll get the people that are douchebags because they don't like your content, or they don't like your opinion, or they think you are a pause shampoo. Like, anything. You'll get people like that. And especially when, like, the bigger you are as a content creator, or anyone, really, like any type of celebrity, like the bigger you are, the more people are going to hate on you. You know what I mean? You have to be able to have thick skin about it and not, I don't know. Like, obviously there are, like, two sides, you know, like, but, and there has to be a balance, and I get it. There's different situations for each thing like this, but just for example, so, when I think it was when I was raid leading for Mythic HFC. I had this person who was in the guild, and I specifically said that I would get rid of people that were inactive past 4 months. Not alts, but mains. Like, if you specifically said that you were an alt, or you said you were going to be gone for a particular amount of time and you would come back, that would be different. But in order to not have inflated member numbers in the guild, I would get rid of inactive people over 4 months. So, I had someone that was inactive for quite a bit of time, and I kicked him out of the guild. And 2 days later, somehow, 2 days later, this dude ends up coming back. Whispers me in game. Legitimately, the whisper that he said to me was that he hoped that I got my throat cut in my sleep. Or something to those lines. Something like that. It was very close to that. But, like, that's what like, yeah, it's nerd rage, you know what I mean? Like, it's just, and I get it, I do. I mean, it's obviously, you know, people are emotional, you know, some people don't have the best mental health, so that's not good. I don't know what's wrong with people, but at the same time, like, the bigger you, and just with, like, content creation to begin with, like, the bigger that you get, this is gonna sound so salty, but the bigger that you get, especially as a content creator, the more people are going to be jealous. And those are the people that are going to nitpick at all of the things that you do and all of the things that you say. And so, like, regardless of Lore's statement being true, the fact is he's still a really, really, really popular caster. He's a popular streamer. He's a popular PvPer. Like, yeah, people are going to be douches. That's what they do. You don't need to say it publicly on Twitter. And that's no, you know what? I'm not going to go into a Twitter rant. Sorry.
All the time. And if this guy doesn't get to make, like, a tweet about it every once in a while and get pissed off, you don't want people to be people, you just want them to be robots.
I disagree.
Your job
I actually
is
really
to
disagree
go
for all of the aforementioned things that I said.
What are you doing? These are the people that are leading the Q&As, that are leading the official discussion about the state and path of the game.
Mm-hmm.
And not only are they out of touch with, like, the very basic idea of what is fun, how do we decide if this is fun, but also out of touch with the community. And even, like, from this tweet, you can see that there's a level of like aggression and almost like seeing the community as an enemy, not as an ally that's there to give you you know, very important. You know, God, I'm so tired of this word.
And that's actually something that I've tried to work on myself personally, is that I felt like I've kind of put myself in a position where I was like, I was like adversarial towards Blizzard in a way.
And
in the past, like, I don't know, like year or so, I've tried to be much more accommodating and much more polite, and I've tried to actually like, make connections with people and work towards being more positive.
I do.
And
I really do.
I think that like by making that, like there are people that kind of like follow that example. Obviously, a lot of people that don't, right? I mean, like how many people are going to watch what I do and then do what I do? Maybe a few people, but you know, I think that it's important to lead by example.
A few people? Really? With a following like that? Maybe a few people will, you know, do what I do or say what I say. No, I know a lot of people don't. I'm just saying that, like, speaking of his following, maybe a few. Like, I know he's trying to be, like, humble, I guess, in this sense, but it's just funny. It's funny to hear. It's funny to hear somebody who has, like, 50K viewers on Twitch every time he streams say, maybe a few people will take after what I do.
Example. And so I try not to be as angry and vitriolic about things that they're doing in the game as I used to be, right? And if I am, I never really direct the hate towards like one person, right? I say like Ian doesn't know what he's talking about with this or that, right? But it's like very different than like directing hate mobs towards somebody on Twitter. And I've tried to be more constructive. I've definitely tried to work towards being more constructive in the past like year or so.
Feedback. We value your feedback. It's like the...
Is that a cat?
Like it's the retail lie that everyone's
dog.
sick of hearing. I don't even want to call it
It's
feedback.
a really
You're supposed
fluffy
to have
dog.
normal conversations. You're supposed to play the game yourself, and as a human, using your human emotions, decide: did I have fun?
I appreciate
it also
what she's saying.
echoes the
Supposed to
statement
play the
that
game
Braxton,
yourself.
In the video.
Yeah.
President of
I can pay
Blizzard,
attention.
said, you know, you think you want it, but you don't. Again, it's like this sense of condescension and how
it is a sense of condescension, but J. Allen Brack was right with a lot of people. I mean, I don't think that it's completely, like, he was completely wrong. It's just that it was condescending and there were people that didn't like it. There's enough people that didn't like it. Yeah, he was right with a lot of people. And it's like there's never a conversation about that.
Right.
Obviously, like, there are many people who played Classic. There's a lot of people who messaged me and they told me I played Classic. It made me appreciate retail way fucking more. So
a lot of people
I think
have said that,
look at the
actually.
amount of Classic Andes in chat was like 50 of them. Like, that's not really a very good indicator.
And that was predicted.
But there are people that told me,
actually.
like, oh, playing Classic made me appreciate retail that much more. And I think there's a lot of guys, like a lot of people in my guild are like this. Like, we play Classic and we play retail. Like, we raid on Classic, maybe do a few BGs on Classic or something like that, farm a little bit of gold or just fuck around or whatever. And then we also play retail too. Raid on retail, do Mythic Plus, do like your keys or whatever. Like, it's, you just play the game, right? It doesn't have to be like a whole statement about it.
Right.
But I do think that Blizzard
Exactly.
does design things that are too analytical and they don't actually look at like the emotional effect that things have on players. And that's their biggest mistake, I think, with design nowadays.
How long has the community proven him to be with the massive hype over WoW Classic?
Yeah.
People aren't excited about WoW Classics that can log in and play a polygon dwarf who like has like 4 polygons on his,
you know, it's okay.
on his nose.
I actually don't
They're
mind
logging
the,
like
in
that.
because
Yeah.
of the design philosophy. This,
I don't
again,
mind
like with
the
BlizzCon,
graphics in
with
WoW.
all these
like, I know
cartoons
people like to
involved.
pick on it, but I
Yeah.
really don't mind it.
Don't you guys have phones? They're on this ivory
meme.
tower.
I'm gonna fucking, like, the guy that don't you guys have phones, it was just a dumb thing to say. And, like, I'm gonna be honest.
I know.
Like, the guy probably didn't even make the decision to even do Diablo
I've ranted
Immortal.
about this,
He
so I'm
just,
not
like,
going to
'cause,
again.
Like, that's why they never go off script,
I'm
by
just
the way.
saying.
Like, you
I
see them,
ranted
they
about
have
this before, so I
teleprompters for
won't,
what
but
they're
still.
saying. Like, I don't know if you guys knew this, but, like, whenever you see them looking at the camera, or looking like here's the camera, and they're looking, like, right here, they're reading a teleprompter, okay? Like, they're reading the words off of the script. And so the moment you take these fuckers off the script, you're gonna have some stupid fucking comments. You're 100% gonna have stupid fucking comments. Scripted? Yeah. It's like, The don't you guys have phones thing, it's a meme, right? It's funny, but it's also I don't think it really necessarily means that they're out of touch. It just means they don't really know what they're talking about. Like, there's this stupid comment.
I just think he was
like,
put
I don't think they
in
expected
a really
that to
bad
happen. Like, imagine
situation
like
and
having to
said
announce a
something really
product
stupid because he
in
was
front of
under
a bunch of
pressure. That's
people,
it.
like thousands of people,
And I won't get
and then
into
having
it,
them be
but
like
still.
really skeptical about it and negative, and like you're up on stage, yeah, you're gonna probably, you might make an ass out of yourself. That could happen.
That he did.
That could completely happen.
And then we had the great joke about it in 14, which was
looking
awesome.
down at the players
tough.
like they just
Yeah.
have no idea what they want, and we know what fun is because we have the numbers.
Exactly.
I went to my first fan fest 4 months ago in Paris.
Oh my
It was like
God.
night and day. BlizzCon 2018
I was supposed to go to
versus
FanFest this
FanFest
year.
2019 because like there was a rock
salty,
show at the end where Yoshida came out in this like freaking amazing tiger kimono, and he's like singing this
What the
badass
fuck?
song from the game.
Just a
And you've
little
got
jealous.
like Koji Fox
That's all.
from the English localization team.
What the fuck?
Soken there. And they're like rocking
they have the
out.
same
They're
thing at
having so
BlizzCon.
much fun. Like,
Not like
we
this,
are
but
part
kind of.
this big thing together, and you feel like they really
Yeah.
are invested in this
Maybe a little
game
bit
too.
more
They
than
care
salty
about
about
this game
this.
too. They're there to listen to us. I posted today on Twitter
I'm actually kind of angry.
at FanFest. A fan went up during the Q&A and requested a quality of life change, and Yoshida was like, "Yeah, we can do that." 4 months later, like today, I posted, that they have announced that they will be adding that feature that was requested by a fan into the game.
How about
Okay.
that?
I posted that to just
That's
kind of
good.
demonstrate
That's awesome.
how
That is
very
awesome.
different
That is good.
the devs are.
There it is.
If there's a controversy, which there have been, they address it and they say, well, here's the reasons for why we can't give you what you want right now. But
This is actually like such a good criticism of Blizzard. Like I like all the other ones, I'm like, like whatever, right? But this is such a good criticism of Blizzard, is because Blizzard is mired in bureaucracy. They have fucking 8 lines of red tape before they let somebody talk to the public. And the problem is that it's like, for example, if they were talking to players a lot more, I think that the don't you guys have phones thing would have faded away more. But I think
Right.
what ends up happening is that they have like one of these statements that gets interpreted in a bad way. And because Blizzard is not always communicating with the players, that one statement stands out more because there's less communication in general. So what happens is that Blizzard doesn't talk to the players in an honest, direct sense. And instead of that, what they do is they just kind of make these political statements. Blizzard basically acts like the government. Like, it's really, they function like the government, and we are like the people, okay? And, like, they're always pissed off, fucking taxes are messed up, holes in the road, the Burger King that you guys said you're going to fix, it's not fixed. There's the bridge that you said you're going to fix that
I
for
play in,
some
like, both
reason
games, too.
went
I'm
to your
coming back to
brother's
WoW,
company
anyway.
for, their highest bid. And, it's been broken for 40 years because your brother's in jail. It's like, and so nothing ever fucking happens and people are pissed off constantly. And so Blizzard's the same thing. And Blizzard, you have these people and they don't communicate honestly. And I like Ian. So for example, Sloopbag came out and he criticized the variance change. And Ian was like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? This is in the game. And he basically said, calm the fuck down. Like, I felt so much better about that. I felt so much better. Like, regardless
Yeah.
if I disagree with what he's saying or not, it doesn't really matter. I want the honest communication. Like, if a dev said, like if a dev just called out, like, even me, right? Like, what the fuck do you keep saying this stupid ass shit for? That's never gonna happen. Why do you keep talking about it? And like, please, like, just be honest with us. Just treat us like normal people. I think that Blizzard just assumes that, like, all of their players are, like, these, like, weird, crazy nerds that just, if they hear something, they're just going to latch onto it and freak out or something like that.
I'm a weird,
and it's like,
crazy
yeah,
nerd.
that's partially true, but it doesn't mean, I know, it's partially true, but it doesn't mean you don't talk to them. More talking to them is good. I mean, it's completely fine. And, I don't know. I'd like to see more of that.
Hey, Kyrie.
But yeah, I don't know, like, Blizzard's communication has, and I also want to say they have massively turned this around. Like, they have massively turned this around. Like, in Shadowlands, everything that they've done
They've been
has
really
been
open. They have been
Good.
really open about everything.
Like, they have not made every good decision. I hate covenants. I think the conduit, like having to do it once a week, is like, I don't know how I feel about that. Not being spec specific, that's stupid too. But like for the most part, they have been. No, wait, what are the caps for? Really?
I see what you did here.
What are the caps for? Has Blizzard not been doing like fucking literally dozens of interviews, asking and answering questions from the community, or answering questions from the community? Have they not been responding to feedback that players have given over the cycle of the beta? Has this not happened? It has. And because it's happened, I consider it a massive improvement over what happened in BFA Legion and Warlords of Draenor.
Mm-hmm.
It's great.
So many fucking Trump supporters.
Try. They're very transparent. They know they're in touch with what is going on, with what players want. But it's design philosophy problems that are the reason.
As much as people like to pick on Blizzard, though, and as much as people like to say that Blizz died and that Activision has taken over, like, they actually are getting better with Shadowlands. I don't know if it's enough. I'll be playing Shadowlands. I'm really excited to raid lead for you guys, for anybody that wants to, you know. Horde, Bleeding Hollow, need DPS. But it's leaps and bounds of a difference to me. I don't know how much it is to other people. I don't know if other people care. I don't know if it's going to change anything, but they're definitely trying, at least.
And why I felt so alone in my garrison in Warlords of Draenor. That are the reason why I left that game behind, and it opened that window of opportunity for me to finally try another game. So why are players quitting WoW for 14? It's because that the tie has been severed. What are those ties made of? They're made of
like
meaning.
Friendships. Yeah.
What is meaning? It is human connections.
Yeah.
It is feeling pride in your character and pride in what you've accomplished.
That's pretty true.
Whatever that chord of meaning is, I know that
that's pretty
it's
true.
made up of something more than the sum of its parts, and that's what
is true.
Ian doesn't get. That's what they don't seem to get.
That is
Right.
true. That's
Something that makes you feel like you're a part of something bigger. And that's what WoW
I liked
has
certain
lost.
parts of WoD. Like, I liked HFC.
That's what Final Fantasy XIV can offer. You might not like
and
it.
I liked that you could get certain
you might try it
bosses
and it might not be for
stories
you.
based
That's
on
okay.
what areas you
but
were in.
I will make a separate video
the big
talking
one for me
about
was
some
the
misconceptions
Arakoa.
you might have, especially early on in the early parts of gameplay. I'll talk more about how the game does change as you level, and more of like what to expect if you decide to play 14 coming from World of Warcraft. What do you think? What do you think about this thing that I've called the chord of meaning? What is it made of for you? Like, what attaches you to an MMO? Have you ever played World of Warcraft? Have you played it as long as
attaches you
me?
guys
Are you
to an
also
MMO?
a WoW
Watch it.
refugee?
Other than
I'm actually kind of
community.
curious to see like what this even is.
Hey, all today.
All right, so I'm gonna end this here because I know she just talks about like the difference in the GCDs and stuff like that. Oh, I didn't realize that I'd logged out of the game. Oh my god. But yeah, so a lot of people wanted me to watch that. So now we have. There are a lot of things I agree, a lot of things I disagree about. I kind of went on a rant for a little bit. Sorry. But now, I promised one of our